Hey yo, what up, pimps? It's your boy, Dwight Paddock, coming at you live once again. And today we talking about sexual assault, rape, and Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, how do all these things come together? Well, apparently, allegedly, there's someone that was a superior at the Square Enix development division for Kingdom Hearts 3 raped an art director or artist, one of the artists that worked there for Kingdom Hearts 3. And for some reason, Kotaku, Polygon, the rest of these game activists don't want to cover it. Even though there's a clear power dynamic thing, it's a Me Too movement. You'd think they'd take advantage of it, and we'll find out why that is. But apparently, this person, they were talking about anime one day, the new anime episode that was coming out, and the superior decided they wanted to come over and watch the anime, so they made plans to watch the anime. Little did the victim know that they didn't want to watch anime. They had other things in mind, so they ended up getting fired over this whole ordeal for coming out and saying what happened and how they weren't pleased about being raped and etc. But they got in contact with the Quartering on January 15th. The video came out, and Kotaku and them have not covered it. So I think it's important we get this out there. So I'm going to play him reading out what the victim had to say, and then we'll go from there.
Introduced to a member of staff who seemingly had some common interest with me, and we would talk to me at an increasing rate over the next few days. Of course, I wanted to be on good terms with everyone at the company, so I was friendly. On one day, this person asked to come to my house to watch the newest episode of blank with me. At the time, I had not noticed any ulterior motives, so I decided, sure, why not? I honestly hadn't had anyone over in about a year. Maybe it would be good to make some friends. This turned out to be my first big mistake, as it would start into motion a giant downward spiral. This person comes to my place. We watch the show. They go on to talk about work and how they're great friends with the lead HR person within the office. I had seen them talking cheerfully together, so I assumed this to be true, and later found out for certain it was. They also wanted to tell me that this lead HR person has the power to get rid of anyone in the office at any time and has in the past. I didn't realize what was implied at first, but shortly afterwards I would. This person continued to talk about random things in the company and their own personal complaints. As the hours continued, this person said it was probably too late to catch a train home and asked to stay at my place, which wasn't a very big place. Again, I must have been too stupid or naive to realize what this person was after, but I said, okay, take the couch. It makes me sick to my stomach to recall the events of what happened next. Shortly after, attempting to go to sleep, they began to make advancements on me and did not stop. Remembering their previous statements about being friends with HR, lead of that office, and knowing my situation of having just barely made my way back to paying rent and doubtfully being able to survive without my current income, I was pressured into giving in. Afterwards, I recall going to the bathroom and crying for quite some time while the disgusting abuser in the other room slept soundly. I spent the night pondering what I should do and came to the conclusion that I had to pretend nothing happened. Just try to be friends with this person no matter what happens and eventually figure things out, or I would be in the streets and possibly unable to work in the industry again. Even in hindsight, this seems like a terrible judgment call on that part, but considering the events which followed, I truly believe that if I told anyone at the time, I would have been jobless and out on the streets much sooner.
So yeah, you heard what they had to say. Their account of the events, what happened, and this is should not be okay. This like, you can't pick and choose who you're gonna call out for this stuff. You can't pick and choose what morals to do with rape and sexual assault and power disparity and social justice. You just look like a complete fucking hypocrite. These fucking games activists, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a flying fuck. They're just trying this virtue signal about how much better they are than you, and how they're fighting for true change when stuff like this happens. And by the way, you want to know why they're not covering this? Two reasons. Two motherfucking reasons. The female in this situation was the boss, and the victim in this situation was the male. That's reason one. Reason two is because it happened in Japan, and they don't want to tell Asians how to live their life, just like they refuse to call out other unnamed cultures for their treatment of homosexuals and women. But that's here and there. So I think it's fucking crazy. I think it's fucking stupid. This should be everywhere. This should have been everywhere. This came out on January 15th. Kotaku, everyone, they didn't cover it because it doesn't fit their narrative of the white males raping everybody in the game industry and toxic masculinity, and how it's all men all the time, and women are always victims, and yada yada yada. And they don't want to call out a woman of color for being a rapist in the game industry. They just don't want to do it. And fuck that. We don't have her name, but we're calling it out. Fuck that. We're calling it out. Let's see what else they're saying in this.
So this is one of those things where I get it. As a man, it's I don't want to editorialize their tale so much, but I get it. Like, as a dude, it's hard to be like, oh, well, so some girl came over and wanted to hook up and you did and you regretted it. And maybe that's all it was. Because
yeah, some old girl that you're not attracted to, and you told no several times, and apparently no means no. Me too. You gotta know when no means no. But when it's a woman, nah, it's all good, right? It's all good. It's fucking bullshit. But I'm gonna leave the link to the Quarterings original video. He got the source on this. They contacted him, and I'm using his content. So even though it is fair use, I still would rather post his link in the description. So go check out the original video.
Because that really isn't what the story is about. Certainly, this person also shared with me that they weren't attracted to this person at all, but were put in this awkward position. So who knows? I think the story is much more than just a regretful hookup. I was disgusted with the abuser, disoriented about the situation, and disappointed with myself for not knowing what else to do. The only place in a company you could normally report something like this would be HR, and assuming the information I had, which was true, I had nowhere to go, no viable options. So I decided to tell the abuser that I had recently had deep depression, hoping for some form of pity and perhaps a way to get this person to stop their abuse. After many attempts to search for some kind of relief, I drove into self-help techniques on the internet and figured I could use my previous inability to take the train to work as a chance to jog or work for exercise. So essentially, this person went on to try to get over it and move on. So to avoid confrontation, I decided to remain on a friendly terms with them. But I must have done a good job of trying to convince myself, because as stupid as it may seem, at some points I was almost able to feel like this person was actually my friend.
Stockholm syndrome.
But I tried hard to fix my life, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Over the following months, the abuser slowly returned to abusive actions, in some way more bold than before, by grabbing my butt at the workplace, in the office, and even when other people were looking. Every single time, I told them to stop and not to do that again. Despite my objections, not only did the harassment proceed, but it became more and more frequent. 2 or 3 times a week, I would have my butt grabbed by the abuser in the workplace, not a light touch or a slap, an actual grab. And again, while the abuser would laugh like a maniac. It didn't matter how many times I said stop or don't do that. It didn't matter who may have seen them doing it. They knew they had power over me and would continue to do so. While on a daily basis, I continued to pretend that, to my best of ability, that nothing was wrong. I continued to show up work on time every single day and produce high quality work. While I was doing this, though, I also went through a lot of plans in my head on how I could stop this. For example, I thought if I could somehow find a relationship partner and get off the abuser to stop constantly harassing me without being fired by their friend in HR. I looked for someone in the office who seemed to be a genuinely nice person, considered how I could create a relationship. So in a nutshell, basically, this all continued. It continued weekly, and eventually I couldn't take it anymore. Despite not being in a relationship, I told this person I have a feeling for someone. They said, me, right? I said, sorry, but no. The person went home angry that night. I was worried what might happen, so I sent an apologetic message to them saying I hope we could still be friends. They proceeded to tell me that someone in the company, a friend of theirs, was considering getting me fired. They said to say this at the least freaked me out. I'd gone through so much pain, would still lose everything. I reacted very poorly to this threat and said if someone was trying to get rid of me, I'd get rid of them first. So I'm sure the company will try to paint me as some sort of violent criminal using my words, getting rid of somebody. Well, we all say things in anger, I suppose. Over the next few days, I became more and more concerned I might lose my job eventually and make the mistakes again of mentioning I was having bad thoughts at work. Although in a private message to the abuser, I had slowly fallen back into more frequent suicidal thoughts since the harassment became so common. But I also thought perhaps I could receive some sympathy and maybe this person would stop harassing me. I was very, very wrong. Instead of sympathy, the abuser took this chance and reported me and my messages to HR that very night. A lot of very evil mental games were played here, so I'll just get to the results. HR told me that they know about my mental health. They know more about my mental health than I do and demanded that I go see a psychiatrist. Now, this is in Japan. I don't know, obviously, cultural things. There's one point in the story where this person told me that their boss made them kneel before them and beg for their job back. And apparently this is a practice in Japan. I've never heard of it before, but it sounds demoralizing to say the least. Okay, and so at this point, to recap, person gets a job, ends up feeling pressured, at least, to hooking up with female coworker who has implied that they have powers to terminate any people who are a problem. That person then continues to play grab ass at work against this person's will. Nothing is done. That employee who is being harassed is suffering mental issues of the worst kind. So the company forces that person, instead of dealing with it internally, to go to the doctor. Now, you may be annoyed that I'm reading so much verbatim from this thing that you can't see, but I'm just afraid that I might overshare. And it's important that I use their own words and not editorialize this.
Alright, so yeah, it's fucking crazy. Like, where's the Me Too movement? Where's the people on their high horse? Like, it's either okay or it's not okay. You don't get to pick and choose when it's okay and when it isn't. To like, what happened to No Means No? At best, it was a superior at your work / your boss pressuring you into sex so you don't lose your job. At worst, it's straight rape because they literally said no, 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 and kept getting sexually assaulted at work. Like, where the fuck? Like, where are your morals now? These fucking games activists, these polygon fucking. Oh my god, it's just so fucking. Like, they're so hypocrites. They're so hypocrites. This is so irritating. But this has nothing to do with how, like, Kingdom Hearts as a game. This is not an anti-Kingdom Hearts video. This is more a anti-fucking Polygon and games activism, because they only like to paint the narrative they want. They really don't care about the issues. They just fucking paint the narrative they want, because it's always the straight white male gamers that are causing the problems, not the Asian female power dynamic raping their artists in Kingdom Hearts. So it's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. But I'm gonna wrap this up here. I put the original video of the quartering in the description, and yeah, so hit me up, man. Hit me up. You can catch me live on fucking Twitch, twitch.tv/DwightPowderGG. I'll put the link in the description for that as well. I stream a lot of JRPGs and sometimes playing some online games with my friends. So, yeah, catch me there and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Peace.